And we are live, Sam and Joe, back with you for UFC 312, our fighter draft picks show. 5 versus 5 returns for the big pay-per-view this weekend, headlined, of course, by the rematch between Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland for the middleweight title. Of course, in the co-main event as well, we have the women's strawweight championship on the line. Weili Zhang against Tatiana Suarez. Looking down the rest of the card, Joe, filled by a lot of local Australian, New Zealand fighters, a lot of regional fighters on this card. People have criticised the strength and depth of some of it. But first, how are you, and what are you making of this UFC 312 card this weekend?
Yeah, like you said, I think the fight night last week had more probably not interesting fights. I shouldn't say that, but like you said, more probably bigger names. We've got two fairly good fights at the end of the night. Dricus and obviously Zhang versus Suarez will be very interesting in that women's division. The rest of them, like you said, there's a mix of well-known talent or known talent with some new Aussies. So yeah, hopefully we get to see some rising contenders. Cards like this normally come up with a few surprises, a few ones that Dana or the matchmakers know about that we might not know loads about, and they come up, make a statement, and we get to know about them for future. So fingers crossed for that. Fingers crossed for some future stars. We know how good personalities the Aussies and New Zealanders are. We've had Taito with Asa in the past. We've had we've had Izzy, we've had Volk. So we've had some great characters of the sport. So hopefully some more get revealed and shown to us this weekend.
Yeah, definitely waiting for that next breed of kind of Aussies, and like you say, it's more about the personality sometimes, isn't it? With the Aussies, there's plenty of fighters on this card, but they're just waiting for that breakthrough moment. Some of them, so we'll see about that. We'll run you through the main card quickly before we crack on, and Joe will give us our rules meeting ahead of the 5v5 of the top. As we mentioned, Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland, a rematch of their first fight, which was just over a year ago in Canada. That one, obviously, a split decision victory on the night for Dricus du Plessis. The likes of Dana White coming out afterwards saying he thought du Plessis had edged it on the scorecards. No immediate rematch was ordered. And obviously, du Plessis went on to face Adesanya. And Strickland won another split decision, got a split decision victory this time, against Paulo Costa. Weili Zhang against Tatiana Suarez, the second championship fight on this card for the strawweight title. We've got a UFC debutant at heavyweight in Tallison, Teixeira, a Dana White Contender Series contract winner against Justin Tafa in a featured bout on the main card. Jimmy Crute returning against Rodolfo Bellato. Jake Matthews against Francisco Prado make up the main card, with the prelim headliner of Jack Jenkins and Gabriel Santos. But Joe, let's get into this 5v5 draft pick show, and you give us your usual rules meeting ahead of this one.
Yeah, so obviously if you're new or if you've seen it before, we pick 5 fighters each. We can't pick the same fighter. We do a snake draft format, which means whoever goes first has to then pick second in the next round, and it snakes along till we pick 5 fighters each. 5 rounds, you'll obviously make sense to go with the odds in your early ones, get the guarantees in, and then normally the last 2 rounds are the ones that we choose with our heart, or we'll pick the main events and we'll have a bit of fun, chucking a couple of bets throughout the way. But Sam, I think last time the draft got a bit screwed up because of the night. There were about 2 or 3 changes. Obviously, Moicano ended up fighting Makachev, and so I don't think we got an official results, because I think 3 or 4 of our picks were in the fights that got mixed up. So I don't know how you want to do it, Sam. I might give the honours to you to get us going as the host of the show. If you want to take us away.
Go on then. Yeah, I'll take on. Yeah, as you said last time, we had that switch up in the main event caused some of our picks to be null and voids. But I still think off the because we had the bonus 6 round, didn't we, on that one as well? So I still think we kind of had 3 or 4. But yeah, not sure how that affected the total tally of whether we had a winner or not on the night. But yeah, I'll go first in this one. My round 1 pick. Do you know what? I'm gonna head in. I'm not messing about with some of these prelim ones, and as you said, going for the big odds in the prelims. I'm going straight to Dricus du Plessis. I think he's going to get the business done against Sean Strickland this weekend. I think that performance against Adesanya just showed it, once more what he's all about. Du Plessis, absolute animal with the way he comes forward. He's not your orthodox fighter. He comes in, he's wild. He puts pressure on you to the very end. And I think that's a difficult style for Sean Strickland to deal with. And obviously Strickland, is an aggressive fighter, but obviously very defensive, astute as well. And I think du Plessis got off to a slower start this time. He's come out and said that he felt he was kind of hesitant maybe for a round and a half, and then kind of got into his usual state. Once he felt he had the cardio to go with Strickland for the full 5 rounds. So I think du Plessis is just going to keep getting better for the next couple of fights. Now I'm not sure that Strickland is going to be able to catch the eye of the judges enough. If he didn't do it last time, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it this time against an ever growing in confidence du Plessis. I think Strickland only fights one way. I can't see him changing. There's been calls of him to maybe be a bit more aggressive, maybe use his wrestling more and try and really wrestle du Plessis. I just can't see that happening. Sean Strickland at this point in his career, for me, is just set in his ways. He's going to go out and do Sean Strickland, win or lose. I think he's had 5 split decisions, or maybe 6 now in his career, if you count the Paulo Costa one, obviously last time out as well. So, his style lends itself to, and if you look at those fights where he's had the split decisions, just like the du Plessis fight, he is outstriking his opponents. But it's the way he fights, obviously against Adesanya, complete shutout, really impressive performance. Adesanya struggled that night, but du Plessis, I just can't see him, shying away from Sean Strickland's, Philly shell style, and him having his way with du Plessis. So I'm going to go with the champion to keep his belt nice and early. I'm going to lock in that pick. I love Strickland, and I think actually this would be a nice one because I think the only real fight left for Adesanya is that Strickland rematch. That's the only fight I want to see Adesanya back in the UFC for. People keep mentioning, he should go and fight this guy, this guy in the top 10 or Sean Brady, whatever. But no, I think Strickland, Adesanya 2, du Plessis go on to face Khamzat Chimaev. That's my roadmap for the middleweight division. Imavov, sorry, you're just going to have to just wait and hold your brakes and wait for your opportunity. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see happen off the back of this weekend. And du Plessis, for me, retaining the title and still.
Yeah, like it. I'm not sure if I'm going to go against you. I think I might wait till round 4 or 5 to decide that. I've got, like I said, I'm behind on the scorecard, so I'm going to go get my wins nice and early. And my first round draft pick is going to be Tallison Teixeira. He's obviously, like you said, the featured fight of the night before the main events. He's 7-0 from the Dana White Contender Series, and he's against Justin Tafa. If you've not seen the Tafa Bros, they're like a. This is.
I think we've lost Joe there in full flow.
If you've got me, can you see me?
You're back now. You're in full flow. If we've not seen the Tafa brothers, and then we lost you. He's back.
You've not seen the Tafa brothers, yes. Like I said, they're like a worse version of Taito Ivasa. 2 big lads, 2 just gonna swing and bang and hope they get the knockout. I don't think there's loads of technique there, loads of vibes, loads of good crack, but I don't think. I just don't think they've got the talent and the well-roundedness. Obviously, it is the heavyweight division. Knockouts always count, but they're not tied to Ivasa. They don't quite have that knockout power. and this Tallison Teixeira has been rated all over. He's 7-0. Tafa's 7-4. I think the Tafa bros have been fun, but they're not UFC standard. Not as you get to these better and better heavyweights. So I think Tallison Teixeira to become an exciting young heavyweight that we can all get behind, getting the win here, and I think that's a confident one to get me going in the draft, Sam.
Interesting. I'm going to hold my thoughts on that one because I could be back to take you on down the line. But I'm going to go for. Do you know? I'm actually. I'm going to take your early rules meeting advice and go for someone on the card a bit lower down, expected to win this weekend. I want to go for Cody Steele. Again, we mentioned Dana White's Contender Series quite a lot. And Cody Steele, another highly rated fighter off that particular show, won his contract back in October with a second round finish of Jason Blair. He is 7-0 in his pro career. Highly touted, got good boxing, got good grappling, a bit of another kind of modern MMA all-rounder. Looks pretty solid, and he comes up against Rong Zhu this weekend, who does have a lot of experience, which is my one kind of. Sometimes I go for these prospects and overlook the experience. And I'm going to do it once again. I'm overlooking Rong Zhu experience. He's had a couple of runs in the UFC. He's still only young himself. He is 1-3 though in the UFC. He has come back and he was on the road to UFC show. A different show over in Asia in the Far East. He won that show. Came back to the UFC, but lost to Chris Padilla, doctor stoppage in the second round last time out. And I think Cody Steele, them sending him over to Australia. I think there's some confidence there for the UFC that he's that they want to get him rolling and want to get him out maybe 2 or 3 times more this year. So Cody Steele for me in the second round of the draft.
I like it, yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to be going against you. I think the odds dictate that one. But yeah, I like it, Sam. Nice, steady pick. Obviously, you've took a risk with your first one, having the title fight, very close, even odds. So yeah, don't mind it. My second one, again, I'm going with a fighter who's been in the UFC actually a little bit of time now, and he's had his ups and downs. They want him to be a top man, and he's just entering his run now. He's won his last 2. It's Jake the Celtic Kid Matthews. I think it's against Francisco Prado. I don't rate him that highly. To be honest, I'm nervous about Matthews as a top contender, like they want him to be. They keep pushing him, never quite broke into that top of the division. I think this is a fight for him. He's fighting a 12-2 fighter here, but I think it's one of them where the odds are deceiving, and I think they're going to try set him up, build it up. This Prado's only 22 years old, so that's a tough fight. He's lost his first fight in the UFC versus Daniel Zellhuber. I think they're setting him up against someone that looks a bit better than the on paper than sadly he actually is. And I think, yeah, they're going to build Jake Matthews up, get a hometown. I believe he's a hometown lad. I've not made that up, have I? Yeah, he's Australia. Get a lad going in, fighting, and I think I think they're going to get him the win here, and he'll do it pretty comfortably and start to push for that top 15 that they've wanted him to be for quite a while. And I think, again, the matchmakers done him a favour here in the main card of a top-ranked UFC one. I think that's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think Prado comes in. I think it's not ultra short notice, but I don't think he was the original booking. Stepping up from lightweight as well to welterweight. I do actually quite like him, but I'm not. Yeah, stepping up, to welterweight, another 15 pounds. Step up in weight for Prado. I thought he looked quite good against Zellhuber, but the Golden Boy got that one done on the night. I think we went into that one on that Mexico card. These two, had quite a good scrap. But yeah, I think that's a solid pick for that one. So are we back to you now? I'm getting confused where I am.
Yeah, no, I think we got mixed up before. I'll take the first one with the snake one, and I'm going to pick. The odds aren't with this one here, but I want to get it in. I don't know whether you're going to go this way. That's why I want to get it in. It's in the co-main event, the women's strawweight, one of the most exciting fighters in any women's division. It's Weili Zhang. She had one or two boring fights, but then she also had some incredible knockouts, some great moments, and I actually really like her as a fighter. She's against Tatiana Suarez. That's why it's a bit controversial, because Tatiana's 11-0. She's not been beaten. But I don't think I like Zhang. I think she's top quality. There's not a massive age difference. She's 35, Suarez is 34, so it's not like the age is going to make a massive difference here. Zhang's the champion. She's a great fighter, and I don't think Suarez has got the full well-roundedness to beat. She had loads of cancelled fights in 2024. She gets submissions. She's unbelievable on the ground, but I think Zhang can just hold her own, and she keeps her up, but she'll piece her up on the feet. So that's why I think Zhang will win this one. And like I said, I didn't know where you're going to go, but I wanted to get it in early because I love her as a fighter, one of my favourite women fighters, and I think she'll get the win here and cement her status as one of the. Well, I think she already is, but one of probably the GOAT of the women's division. I think if she wins this one.
Like it, yeah. I like Zhang, but I'm going to take you on with Tatiana Suarez. Might as well go head to head while we're talking about it. I just think that Suarez might have too much in the grappling. Obviously, the question mark over Suarez has been the injuries and the record that she's had in terms of staying fit. Going all the way back to her days, and the USA wrestling team. She had, quite a serious illness after a neck injury. They found the cancerous growth, and after that, she came back to, switched over to MMA, won the Ultimate Fighter, and then kicked on from there in the UFC. Has had, some serious injury problems. She missed 44 months with another neck injury. And then missed, as you said, pretty much all of 2024. Well, she did miss all of 2024. She was supposed to have a fight in December, I believe, but obviously was offered this opportunity. So that fight was cancelled. So has had her injury problems, but I kind of like the fact that she's had all these injury problems, but yet she's still undefeated. She comes back, and she puts it on people. She's had wins against some real top names in there. She's beaten the likes of Carla Esparza. She's beaten, obviously, Andrade was a last one as well. She's beaten Alexa Grasso. All those three have held UFC gold in one division or another. As you said, she's great with the grappling, relentless, has real strength. When she gets people to the ground, that they struggle to get back up. And Zhang, for me, has improved a lot with her grappling. The last two that she's had, she's gone grapple heavy. Against Zhao Nan, she did certainly. And she has tried to implement that in a game, but I think she's going to come up against someone in Suarez who's just a little too good in that department. And I think we could see Suarez just have a way with her a little bit, which would be sad because I really do like Zhang. But I go back to that second Namajunas fight, and there was quite a lot of grappling in that fight. And Rose, not necessarily known for her grappling, but when you look back at that fight, she managed to hold Weili down for quite a long time. I think that Zhang attempted and got more takedowns in the fight, but Rose was getting back up, and the couple of takedowns that Rose had, she had Weili down for quite some time. So I know she's improved in that department, but I just think Suarez is a different animal with the grappling. So I'm going to go Suarez and the new.
I kick back to you, Sam.
Back to me then. Where do we go now? Do you know what? Do you know what? I think I'm going to take you on actually with in the other one. Let's make it competitive. Let's go head to head. I want to go for Justin Tafa in this featured spot against Tallison Teixeira. Obviously, you discussed Teixeira earlier, 7-0, massive heavyweight in terms of his height. He's 6'7". He's going to have a 9-inch reach advantage here. But I think Justin Tafa, this is the kind of fight that he likes. He likes these big, tall heavyweights. He knocked out Austin Lane, who's 6'6", a couple of fights ago. And I think he likes these scraps. And I think this is kind of a little tailor-made for him. I know Tallison is kind of highly rated, but coming off that regional scene in Brazil, look at the guys that he's been fighting. This is a massive step up in experience for him. Tafa out-wrestled last time out against Carl Williams. That's not his game. If you put him in with a wrestler, it's not going to go well for Tafa. He likes these ones. As you said, the likes of Mark Hunter are his heroes. Tuivasa, those kind of guys. He's 4-4 in the UFC, but he's 4 wins. He's finished them all in the first round. Has come unstuck at times, but look back at that Austin Lane fight. Lane came out fast, which I expect Teixeira to do this weekend, and Tafa just to step in, land one on the chin, and good night. You won't have felt the power like that Tafa's going to bring on Saturday in his career so far. So Teixeira, a little too soon for me. Featured heavyweight, spot on the main card for Tafa. The likes of Hunt are gone. Tuivasa probably gone, probably going to retire. This is his time. We said at the start of the show, the UFC needs someone to step forward from this region, a new, character to step forward and kind of be in the fun fights whenever they go to Australia. And the time is now for Justin Tafa. I stumbled across a little video that they put together his camp for this one. I think it was like Labrooks, Australia or something like that. It was a nice little 5-minute documentary of looking at how he's training now, the changes that he's made over the last 12 months, got his own camp going in his hometown, and he looks in a good place. So I'm going to bank on Justin Tafa, the experience in the UFC, and Teixeira being caught under the lights, and it would be good night.
Like it. My 4th round pick. Well, my next 2 picks I've got lined up. They're both big odds. So if you want to join me, let's have some fun here, because they're big odds. I'm taking big risks, and I'm actually picking the first fight of the night to go with. And I'm surprised he's that big of an underdog. It says 4-1 here for him to win. And his name's Ansel Jubli. And he was one of the most not high ranked, he was very highly rated prospect in his last fight. He fought at UFC 294, and he was dominating a fighter called Mike Breeden up until halfway through the 3rd round. He started to get tired. Breeden surged. It's one of the great fight clips of all time. Breeden starts barking at Ansel Jubli like a dog, proper going for it. And he ended up TKOing Jubli. But Jubli, before that moment, I think he looked like, what the hell is that? It was too much for him in that moment. I don't think there's many Mike Breedens in the world, never mind the UFC. I think it was a very unique, strange thing. I think he would have learned for it, got even better. He's against Quillen's Skalkild, who's a good fighter by all regards. They're saying he's another young prospect coming up, but I think Jubli's times now, if he's going to be that time, his nickname's the King of Lions. He needs to step up. He needs to match some of the hype that he had. He looked unbelievable in the Breeden fight, like I said, up until the barking and his tiredness kicked in. So I'm going to pick Jubli to get the fight here, get the win. And like I said, it's 4-1. Really surprised about how strong the odds are. Maybe I'll be having pie on my face by the end of the night, but it's the 4th round, and I'm going odds, and I think I'm going to chuck it in a double with my other one. If they both come off, I'm going to make some money.
Nice, like it. So are we 5th round now? Is it back to you?
Back to me. 5th and final pick. Again, another not controversial one, because he's been getting slaughtered on Twitter, and I'm going for him to lose. I'm following the Twitter banter here. It's in the Colby Thicknessy fight, and he's against Alexandra Topuria. So he's against, obviously, I forgot his. I've not. Topuria is, what's his first name again? That's so
Ilya.
bad. My brain's Ilya. Oh. Sorry, my brain. Yeah, Ilya's younger brother, obviously a champion who's been absolutely dominant. Knocked out Volkanovski, knocked out Max. Beat everyone. They're all calling him. Well, this is his brother. He's 5-1. The odds are strongly in his favour. This Colby Thickness is 7-0, former champion in which fight. I'll just check what company it was again. It was in the it's in the CFN and Hex Fighting, but he's a former champion, highly rated, and again, he's 7-0. He's not less. Topuria has lost before. They're saying a lot of the hype is around, obviously, his brother's name, having the Topuria second name, sort of becoming a bit of a Nurmagomedov, but we've not seen the full family of Topurias do it yet, and I don't think we will. I think Colby is winning this one. He looks a young, slick. Well, his name's Slickness, so kind of sums him up. His fighting style, good on the ground, good all over. Topuria, he's going to lose. I'll just check the odds now. Colby's 3-1 to win. So if you go Ansel Jubbly Colby, you've got a 4-1 and a 3-1 double there. Your money's in the value and the odds. I think people are getting carried away with these storylines. The Topuria storyline is a big one. Not for me. Colby's in his home country. Topuria's travelling. And I think the similar level fighters, I think it's great odds for an upset. I'm not saying he definitely will win. Topuria, they'll have that power. They'll have the strength. But 3-1, I'm taking that all day. So I'm chucking it in my fight picks in my 5th round. Let's have it.
Interesting. Do you know what? I'm gonna take you on again. Why not? I was gonna go elsewhere, but seeing as you've gone for this fight, let's have it. It's Topuria Volk off Wish, as people are saying. With obviously Volkanovski, Thickness coming out of City Kickboxing, trains with Volkanovski, obviously with Alexander Topuria, the elder brother of Ilya by a year. As Joe said, 5-1. He has lost, but if you look back at that fight, it was in some, I don't know what promotion it was in, but it was like a huge mismatch. He'd gone up in weight to get a fight, and he was the weight difference was, I think it was like 44-pound weight difference. And if you look at the two in the cage, it was a huge differential between the two on the night. Lost that fight in the 3rd round, I think it was. But I've kind of watched a little bit of video on him this week, just to kind of get a sense of, what he's like. And he just, for me, Alexander Topuria, in this matchup, which Thickness is taking on short notice. I think it was Cody Haddon he was supposed to face first. So Thickness kind of coming off the couch, less than a week notice. I know he's been active, and he looks like the kind of guy that stays ready, and he's always ready for an opportunity. But Topuria looks really thick for bantamweight. He looks really strong in some of his fights. Obviously, for both guys, I think we're judging them off, fighting at a kind of regional level. So that's hard to do. But he looks to have really good grappling. Topuria. He looks really strong for the division. Seeing them on the scales this morning, I think he's going to look massive compared to Thickness in the cage on Saturday. And I think he's just going to have a little bit too much for him. He kind of has a bit of that Topuria movement in terms of the boxing. So I'm going to take a chance and go ahead of you. Obviously, there is kind of maybe this misskewed odds with the Topuria name, but we're not betting odds here. We're just having a crack going head to head. So I'm going to go for him, and I think he does get the job done. Actually, I do think he does win. Alexandre Topuria maybe doesn't get to the level of Ilya, in that bantamweight division. We will see whether he can go on a bit of a run. But I watched quite a good interview with him actually. We're on what's he called? Kevin Aioli interviewed him this week. Watch that on YouTube. He seems really relaxed guy. He's a bit like Ilya in that respect. And I think that Ilya camp as well. They put a lot of money into recovery and sports science and all that kind of thing. So even though he's not been active, Alexander Topuria, I think just the level that Ilya is doing things behind the scenes, if you've seen some of the documentaries of his house and that kind of stuff, I think that will feed into Alexander, and I think he's just going to have too much at this level. We'll see as he climbs the ladder, but I think he does thickness this weekend.
I like it, yeah. The picks are in. I've gone safe early, crazy later on. Sam's been pretty steady throughout, so we'll run over him, Sam, and may the best man win at the on Saturday night.
Indeed. Do you want me to go through my team?
Yeah.
I went for Dricus early doors, Dricus du Plessis to retain his title against Strickland. I think he's going to look slightly better this time and just get the job done. I think Strickland, as much as we can kind of tease, he might do this, might do that differently. The fact is he is strong Strickland. He is the way he is, and I think he's going to have a hard time either getting a finish against du Plessis. We know that from Strickland's record, but equally, look at his record of split decisions and decisions. I think he's going to have a hard time with the way that du Plessis fights of getting the nod, if it does go to the judges again. And if a finish is going to come, it is going to be du Plessis. You would have thought 6 out of his 8 UFC fights ended in finishing. He obviously finished Adesanya last time out, the first to submit him. So he's on a roll, du Plessis, and has that confidence. Cody Steele was my second pick, highly rated Dana White Contender Series contract win. I think you can get the job done this weekend. Then I went for Tatiana Suarez to become the new strawweight champion. I think she'll have too much in the grappling department for Weili Zhang. Justin Tafa taking you on against your pick of Tallison Teixeira. The time is now for Justin Tafa to become Australia's new favourite heavyweight. I think he can land one on the chin of Teixeira, who is 7-0. But this is a big step up in level to the UFC. And I took you on again in the final round with Alejandro Topuria, the brother of Ilya, coming up against Kobe Thickness out of that City Kickboxing Volkanovski gym. The storylines are all there this weekend. And yeah, that's an intriguing fight for me. And I think Topuria looks big for the division. He has good grappling and boxing. Both guys have fought at a certain level. But I think Topuria might just have too much on this occasion for Thickness, who's taking it on short notice.
Like it, my team, my first pick was Tallison Teixeira, the heavyweight. Again, Sam said 7-0. I just don't rate the Tafa brothers as high as the, like you said, the Mark Hunts. I think it's all over for that type of heavyweight. They're getting slowly better and better. You're getting more athletic heavyweights. I think these big bruisers aren't going to get as lucky as they have in the past when the standards were a bit lower. My second one was the champ, Weili Zhang, retaining her title against Tatiana Suarez. I think, again, just to summarise, Zhang, awesome fighter, really like her, and I think she'll have too much just in the stand-up and just be able to handle some of these takedowns that Tatiana's going to throw at her. My third pick was Jake Matthews, the strong favourite against Francisco Prado. Again, he's been set up for a while to crack that edge of that top 15. They like his fight style. They want to push him, and I think they've set him up here for a late notice change where that can happen. And then my double, like I said, I've not played the odds game here, but I've played the betting game. And I've gone Ansel Jubilee to beat Quinlan Salkeld. He's 4-1, but like I said, I think every time I've watched Jubilee, he's looked really good. He's just been barked at, freaked out, and got himself too tired. So that one was a shame, but I think he'll have enough in this one in the first fight of the night. And then, as Sam said, I've got Colby Thickness from City Kickbox to beat Alexander Topuria. I think the odds again 3-1. Not I think it's a pretty close matchup, as Sam was saying. He's gone to Poirier. I've gone Fitness, but at 3-1, if you're watching this, it's worth a punt. You know what I mean? If you do a double jubbly Fitness, you'll have great odds. And like you said, you're playing the betting game there, and I think it's worth a great bet because it's a fairly, from what I've seen anyway, it's a fairly even fight. And I probably have Fitness just anyway, and it's 3-1, so I'm taking the odds.
Nice. Have a nice little pot should that come in on Sunday morning. Joe, thanks very much. There are the teams for this UFC 312 fighter draft picks show. We'll get them up online as well, so you can have a little look at them up there. But Joe, as ever, enjoy the fights this weekend, and we'll be back next time.
See you soon.